Hi, I'm Stavros. Good afternoon and welcome. And this week I will be showing you all around this Volkswagen Up. So quite a bit smaller than the truck I was driving last week, the Scania S580 with its V8 engine. This week we have a very small city car, but a very clever one from Volkswagen, the Up. So I will be showing you all around the outside of this car, then we'll have a look inside, and then we'll be going on a test drive. So I'm indoors because the weather outside is raining and it's wind, so it's not very good. We've been getting a bad dose of it lately. So I'm looking forward to this. Let's have a look at this Volkswagen Up. So this particular version of the Up is known as the Club Up. So what comes with this version is blueberry blue metallic paint, very nice colour. We have privacy glass on the back windows, colour-coded door handles, silver caps on the mirrors, silver stickers going down the side of the car, and a club sticker there on the side. And very smart alloy wheels, 10-spoke design, sitting on Bridgestone tyres, 185/55 profile. Very nice 15-inch wheels. So here at the rear, let's have a look at the boot. Now, of course, it is a city car, so the boot is not going to be huge, but it is quite manageable. You can get a few shopping bags in this boot, and I can fold down the rear seats just by clipping these two clips there. So we do have a reasonable amount of space now, and we have storage underneath here also. We don't have a spare wheel, but you could fit one into that space. So at least we can fit a spare wheel should we wish to buy one, and we can remove that parcel shelf. So that is your boot space. So it is quite smart here at the back. I do like this all glass panel at the back. It's a bit smarter looking than the Skoda Citigo or the Seat Me version of this car. They are all built in the same factory and they are all Volkswagen products. But that is the boot space in the Volkswagen Up. So moving around to the front of the car, we just have the bonnet slightly open there to show you the engine. But the headlamps are a nice design, and the bumper as well. The Volkswagen Up, nice version here. And we have the fog lamps there at the front and the big Volkswagen logo. I do like the blue in between the logo. That's a nice touch. So let's get the bonnet open and show you this 3-cylinder, 1 litre, developing 75 brake horsepower. A very compact unit, this 1 litre engine from Volkswagen, and the small little battery and the little coolant bottle as well. A very compact, very well engineered car, this Volkswagen Up. So that is your 1 litre 3-cylinder engine. Very economical. Now we're going to hop into the rear just to show you the leg space. Now the driver's seat is in my position, and I am over 6 feet tall. So it is a bit tight here in the back, but I'm sure children would be more than fine, and it's fine for adults for short journeys. Head space, I still have about an inch over my head, so it's quite okay. I have a headrest here at the back and one on this side, so it's okay. It's not so bad. Now there is no rear window that rolls down here into the door. It's a push out version here, so you just push that out and it gives you air in the rear here. So that is your little push out window in the rear, and now I'm locked in. Right guys, that is just a safety device there in the back for locking the doors. But nice tartan design there on the seats going in. Blue detailing there, looking very nice. and a nice up plate there on the sill going into the car. We have electric windows there on the front, and we can lock our doors with that button there, and we can turn off our passenger side airbag with that switch. So climbing inside, head space now up the front, I have about 2.5 inches above my head, so that is very good. And I do like the black headlining on the interior as well. That is a nice touch. And we can adjust our steering wheel for height up and down. We can't adjust it for reach because this would just be a cost saving measure with the Volkswagen Up. And we can adjust our seat up and down with this lever. I do like the space when you let your foot off the clutch. You can rest it to the left. There's good enough space there on the left. I do like the blue in the doors there and on the dashboard. It just matches in nicely with the exterior colour. And our steering wheel there, full leather steering wheel, nice to hold. And blue stitching there and piano black inserts in the wheel. We have an airbag and an airbag on the passenger side also. Let's start up this display here. We have a speedometer ahead of us there, and on the right our fuel gauge and our rev counter there on the left. And the coolant gauge is shown in this display here, 5-inch display, multifunction touchscreen, and all our car information, trip computer, fuel consumption, multiple function display here, and media system, play all your music through the media system, satellite navigation, and we can go and pair 2 mobile phones here through the mobile phone Bluetooth. So very handy 5-inch display there, Garmin display, and we can also take that out of the car if you wish. Moving down here we have our air conditioning, nice cold air during the summertime there. CD, you can play your CDs, and our auxiliary input connection there, so simple layout there. And we move down here, we have 2 buttons down here. We have our tire pressure loss indicator switch, so it uses the ABS sensor and it just senses the rolling circumference of the wheel. If it senses that there's anything wrong, it will show up on your tire pressure loss indicator function. And here as well we have city emergency braking. So it will stop you in the event that the car senses a collision between 5 kilometers and 30 kilometers in the city. So that is standard in all ups, the city emergency braking. There is your glove box there, pretty standard size glove box. And moving over here, we can hold a bottle there in the door and our light switch, and we can adjust the headlight beam as well. So that is your interior in your Volkswagen Up. Our gear lever there, nice. It's short enough throw, it's not too bad. Feels pretty okay. Nice leather feel to the gear knob, and leather covered handbrake here with blue stitching also. Cup holder there for the back passengers. Yeah, it's not so bad, the interior of the Volkswagen Up. Okay, it's time to start it up and hit the road. So off we go in the Volkswagen Up. So we have 3 versions of the Volkswagen Up. We have the Take Up, the Move Up, and the High Up. And we are in the Club Up. So this version was a kind of an in-between version of the Move Up and the High Up. So you did get extras on this version that you would have to pay more for if you went for the High Up. And this version, Club Up, will be replaced by the Up Beats, which is coming out this year. That will be a facelifted version of this car. So you'll have sharper headlights, you'll have a change of display here in the center console, and this display here will be used by your mobile phone. So that is all coming in the next version of this Volkswagen Up. But we don't have obviously a lot of power in this car. It's only a 1 litre, developing 75 brake horsepower. So you do have 3 power outputs. You've got 60 brake horsepower, this one 75 brake horsepower, and we do have a 90 brake horsepower version coming out. That is a 1 litre turbo, and that should be quite powerful. Volkswagen is claiming that it will have the same power as a Mark 1 Golf GTI. So the power to weight ratio might not be too bad because it's such a light car anyway. But we're just getting up to 100 kilometers now. Volkswagen claims it will do 0 to 62 miles per hour in just over 13 seconds for this particular version. And of course the CO2 level is very low in this car as well. 108 grams of CO2 per kilometer traveled. So it falls into a very low tax band. It's only €190 to tax this car for the year. Now we're just on the motorway now. We will get this car up to 120 kilometers. Now when I drove this car earlier, I did notice there is a bit of wind noise at the top of the windscreen, which may be annoying to some people on a long journey, but it was particularly noticeable yesterday with the high winds outside. Now today it's not as bad. A Citroen ahead of me there with their brake lights stuck on. Not good. But you should get very good miles per gallon out of this car. Volkswagen claims 60 miles per gallon. So you should expect to get well into the 50s with this car. It's only a 30 litre fuel tank, so not a very big fuel tank, but you'll get a good enough range out of it. But it is a very nice car to drive. It feels like a bigger car. It almost feels like you're driving from a class above, like the Volkswagen Polo or Toyota Yaris, that size of car. Opel Adam, you know, that kind of feel to it. And really do like the steering wheel as well. And the gear change is pretty good as well. You know, you shouldn't make any wrong changes, so it's a very good starter car for young people also. You'll have cheap insurance, and of course cheap to tax and cheap to maintain, and very economical. So it's a very good proposition for somebody to take on if you're starting your driving. If you've just started doing your driving, if you've just passed your test and you want to get a very good car, this should definitely be on your list. But yeah, I do like the gear change now. It's not too bad at all. But you'd be surprised at the space in the front of this car. It is very spacious now for 2 adults here at the front. As I said, it's quite a bit tight in the back, alright, but those seats in a car like this will only be used occasionally anyway. They wouldn't be used very often at all. And it is quite good even on a roundabout. It's kind of good fun, you know. And there's a good sound off the engine as well when it's starting off. The 3-cylinder engine. It's only developing 70 pound-foot of torque, which is developed from 3,000 RPM, and that is 95 Newton meters of torque. So it wouldn't be a very torquey engine, but then these small engines, you know, you can't expect too much from them really. But I'm sure that 1 litre turbo version would be a nice peppy little car to drive. I'd be interested to drive that version of the Up when it were to come out. But nice tight turning circle on this car as well. 9.8 meters is all it takes to turn this car, and it's a very small car as well. It's only around 11.5 feet in length, so very short, and a great city car, getting in and out of tight spaces. But I have to say, I do like the feel of it, and comfortable driving position, headrest here as well, nice and comfy. And yeah, that is the only real gripe I would have with this car, is that kind of wind noise above the top of the windscreen there. But other than that, it's an absolutely fine car to drive. I can't really fault it at all, and I love the ride as well. It's firm but comfortable, and very nice ride quality. So the Volkswagen Up would range in price between €12,500 right up to €17,500 for the 1 litre turbo version. And that version, of course, would come with even more extras than this car. For instance, cruise control, reversing camera and sensors. So it would be a nice car to drive, the 1 litre turbo, but this car is absolutely fine for what it was designed for. Just a nice city car with a decent amount of space, and it will get you along quite nicely. And there's also a version called the E-Up. Now that was an all-electric Up, but I'm not too sure is that available in Ireland. It had a range of between 75 and 100 miles, an all-electric Up called the E-Up. But I really do like the suspension in this car. It's so well judged and damped. It really does feel like a bigger car to drive. Very impressive, the suspension. So the question is, would I buy this Volkswagen Up? Well, this particular one, yes I would, because it is a demonstrator car. If it is for sale, there's only 5,800 kilometers just over on it. It's a 162 registration. So if the price was right for this car, I would definitely consider buying it. Just look how much cheaper it would be to run than the Type R Civic. You know, better insurance quote, better economically. It's just a kind of a no-brainer. Of course, I'd be sacrificing a lot of power, but you know, there's always some price to pay. But I wouldn't worry about the back seats, the space. Sure, I hardly carry anyone in the back seats, but the boot space would kind of get me a bit alright. But I can always fold down those back seats, and then I'll have room. But yeah, I do like the Club Up, this version. Nice blueberry blue paint, and the privacy glass at the back, and this lovely steering wheel also. So we will just make our way back to base. So there we are, back from the drive in the Volkswagen Up. I'm quite surprised by this little car. I would definitely consider buying a car like this. It has impressed me, that's for sure. Imagine the amount of money I'd be saving over the Type R if I bought a car like this. But that's where I will leave you all today, guys. A huge thanks to Western Garages in Ennis, the Volkswagen dealership in Ennis, for supplying me with this car for the weekend. Very much appreciated. And a huge thanks to Nixon. If you're watching, Nixon, thank you very much for your comments. You've been very nice to me, so cheers, Nixon. And a shout out as well, of course, to what's happening next Sunday, which is Porsche Supercar Sunday at Cars and Coffee Limerick. So this happens in Limerick, first Sunday of every month, but next month, next Sunday is Porsche Supercar Sunday. And we are going to have a Bugatti Veyron at Cars and Coffee Limerick. So I'm very much looking forward to that. And I hope you'll all be there too. Or if you can make it, that is. And plenty of other very nice cars coming as well. So that's just what's happening next Sunday. Guys, I'm going to leave it there. From the Volkswagen Up and myself, thanks for watching. Cheers.